either Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren. If you read that paragraph to them, I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, both of them would laugh out loud, because they're serious people. They know, and they're good friends also, by the way. They know, they work together. They have very, very similar policies, very, very similar perspectives. They're both going for the same goals. I personally prefer Bernie more because I think he's more of kind of like radical what we need right now. But Elizabeth Warren is one of the second, probably the most detailed, substantive foreign policy people, not foreign policy, just policy people in general. Maybe not foreign policy, actually. But she is very good on domestic policy with that child care plan, something that I did like. And the fact that those two things can't work in tandem is ridiculous. And no man, just as, by the way, no woman should decide the way they have to do something. It's literally, like, I don't know if you're familiar, it's politics. It's the way it works. Like, if the roles were reversed, and I would say Elizabeth Warren announced her 2020 campaign for president the same day Bernie Sanders released his plan for subsidized child care, like, you would say, okay, that's sexist. Why can't a woman jump into the race whenever she wants? And if we're fighting for equality here, which personally, I don't know about you, but I am. I'm not fighting for superiority. I'm fighting for equality. Like, I don't get it. That's probably the stupidest hit I could ever imagine. So, like, that's just reaching there. So Warren already had a toddler when she entered law school before becoming pregnant with her second child and going on to innovate in the field of bankruptcy. A bankruptcy law that led to an entirely new federal agency and eventually her bid for Senate. Instead of talking about that astounding feat and how it inspired her policies, Bernie hurled the bomb in the news cycle, and my eyeballs are still bleeding. Yeah, so that is apparently what she's thinking about here. And this is, again, this was yesterday that was released. I mean, I completely lost it when Beto O'Rourke launched a video about why he's running for president, featuring a smiling, voiceless, Stepford-esque, at least in that video, wife. The video didn't caption Amy O'Rourke by name, and Beto has never even made reference to her. She literally said nothing while he babbled on for 3.5 minutes straight, as only a man convinced of his own manifest destiny can. Hours later, he had the nerve to joke that she is raising, sometimes with my help, their 3 kids. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't like to get in their idea of, like, their marriage. If their marriage is great, which, I mean, I'm sure it is, I mean, we have to assume it is. I think it's personally fine, and, I mean, that's between them about how they raise their kids, their strategy of raising their kids. But again, like, you don't know I really feel like it's dangerous to do that. Like, you don't know what went on behind the scenes. Maybe she didn't want to talk about the camera. But again, I have to admit, like, I'm not going to personally go all the way to defend Beto O'Rourke on that one. That was a little awkward. The fact that you just sit there with his wife, like, voicelessly just being, yeah. Like, at least have her in the video. Like, you got your PR consultants. You make a lot of money. You raise a lot of money. You can get some PR consultants in there. Get Obama's team in there. Like, I don't get that. I have another idea for Bernie, Beto, and Joe Biden, who recently called the gay-hating anti-abortion Mike Pence a decent guy. Don't. There are 4 highly qualified women running the Democratic Party across a range of ideologies and experience, but an influx of men have entered the mix without offering a clear rationale for themselves beyond that they can and want to run. I mean, I guess that's true for some of them, but, I mean, again, it's a free country. People can run. People have the right to run, and the point of a Democratic primary is for the best candidate to win at the end of it. That's how a primary works. Oh my God, amazing. Yeah, I proudly voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016 in the Democratic primary and defended him against charges of sexism. Now I can't stand the sight of his name in my inbox proclaiming not me, us, if I just chip in $3. This isn't the improbable populist who stepped off the sidelines to wrest control of the Democratic Party from its centrist shockwaves into corporate dependence. The man that started the movement that produced shockwaves across the country and in the election. That man started a movement that produced shockwaves across the country and in Congress with the election of AOC and others. There's no substantive reason to run this time around with Warren in the field, but instead of helping his ideological twin become the first female president, he's centering himself. He's centering himself. Not us, but me seems more accurate. Yeah. Again, so let's just say, okay, this is a free country. People can make their own decisions. That's the way a primary works. And personally, I think this is reverse. This is literally reverse sexism. I don't want to sound like Tucker Carlson talking about that, but it just seems to be a little ridiculous that this is the idea of like where we're coming from. Like, it's giving women priority over men, where that's not the world that personally I want to live in. And I think that's the world actually a lot of women would find to be personally ridiculous. Like, again, as I said before, I guarantee you, if you walk up to Elizabeth Warren and say, how do you feel that Bernie Sanders released his that Bernie Sanders announced his presidency the same day that Elizabeth Warren released his her child care plan, she'd say, like, what? Like, this is so ridiculous. And if you think, by the way, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren are ideological twins, you got another thing coming. You really got another thing coming there. So Beto seems to think that one more white man would be the best way to address the shameful lack of gender and racial diversity in American politics. Jesus Christ. What I don't get is this idea that, like, she apparently seems to think that with all the problems women face, with all, like, the wage gap, all the problems that African Americans face, racial justice, policing issues, criminal justice reform, all that stuff, systematic racism, like, the best thing, the thing that deserves an opinion article in the Washington Post, is the fact that white men are running, all of whom deeply care, especially, except for maybe Joe Biden, as we just discussed, deeply care about these issues, want to change these issues. Like, whether it's white men, whether it's green men, whether it's blue women, I don't even care. They all want to change these issues, and regardless of gender, they should all be allowed to either way. So, yeah, and whoever gets the more votes, I think, should win. And that's the way a primary should work. And unlike the way it worked last time, by the way. So in a substance-free Vanity Fair profile announcing his run, I didn't read that, but I'm sure it was substance-free, he vents a fleeting sense of self-awareness that his demographic is overly represented. His solution? To pack his administration with women of color is the only way I know how to meet that challenge. Think harder, bro! Oh my god. And find a way to support a more qualified candidate like Stacey Abrams, who registered a record number of African-American voters who, while serving as the first black woman and minority leader of the Georgia House of Representatives, and eventually running for governor herself. Unlike Beto, who lost his campaign for Senate by over 200,000 votes, the self-made Abrams actually held the lead until the election was stolen out from under her. Yeah, but she lost. So, and she accepted the results of the election, so she lost. It wasn't stolen. Calm down there. She went back to work building democracy and went on what Daniel Choklian called a vision quest. He went on a vision quest. Events all of this amidst an avalanche of media attention fiercely devoted to future presidential prospects. That is the that's the idea. We want to have policy. Who cares about that? Real issues. Who cares about that? If you're white, if you're a male, you can't run. Like that's just so bad, so unproductive. I can't. All right, I'm not giving a comment on this. We're going from stupid to wacko. This is the right's best comedian, Mike Huckabee, on AOC's platform.
Somebody's writing her questions. I saw the questions at Michael Cohen and saw the questions at Wilbur Ross, and there are some forces behind her. I think there's a story there.
Well, there very well could be. I know there has been some allegations that she was almost like the Manchurian candidate, recruited, prepared. I don't know, but the point is that she got her voters out. Now, I think that there's going to be a lot of New Yorkers who would love to have seen those 25,000 Amazon jobs that may turn out in force and say, thank you, but no thank you. Bye-bye. 2 years is all we can handle.
Oh, we'll see about that, bud. We'll see about that bacon and grits boy who somehow weasels his way back on the TV despite being an utter failure. It's like again, the idea that a young Latina candidate can't be actually having thinking her own questions. Like, where does that come from? Is that a non-racist thing to say? Like, oh, she's getting it written by a man. Like, are you kidding me? Like, to be a young Latina woman in Congress. Jesus Christ. All right, that's it for Newsflash. We'll be back this Sunday with another episode. More Wake Up tomorrow.